Adès never thought her life could fall apart so fast. One day, she was living in their big family house in Accra, surrounded by mango trees and their chickens running around the yard. The next, boom, homeless. It all started when her father, Kofi, turned 50. He began acting different. He'd always been a strong man, strict but loving. But after his birthday, something just snapped. He started talking about living life while he still could and not wasting his youth, which made Adès roll her eyes. Like, bro, what youth? Her mother, Ngozi, noticed it too. Kofi was spending more time at bars, dressing weirdly young, and worst of all, he got obsessed with his phone. Always texting, always smiling at his screen. Adès knew something was up. Then, she appeared. Nia. 23, smooth dark skin, tight clothes, and a smile that could melt steel. She worked at a salon near Kofi's office. At first, they thought she was just a passing thing, like a fling. But Kofi fell hard. He started bringing her to family dinners, acting like it was normal. Adès was disgusted. Her father, bringing a girl younger than her to their house? It was shameful. But the worst part, he didn't even hide it. He'd sit there holding Nia's hand across the table, while Ngozi just sat in silence, her face hard like stone. Then the bomb dropped. One Sunday morning, Kofi called a family meeting. Adès knew something bad was coming by the look in his eyes. His words, chilling. "I've decided to marry Nia," he said without shame, "and to give her a good life, I'm selling the land." Adès felt like her soul left her body. The land, the one their grandfather worked his whole life to keep. The land that fed them, paid for her school, and kept the family alive? Gone? For this girl? Ngozi begged him. "Kofi, don't do this. Think of the children. Think of your legacy." But Kofi was stubborn. "I'm thinking of my happiness now. I've sacrificed enough." Adès cried that night, holding her little brother Obi, who didn't even understand what was happening. Within 2 months, everything was gone. The land, the house, they sold it all. Kofi bought a fancy apartment in the city for him and Nia, leaving Ngozi, Adès, and Obi with nowhere to go. They ended up crashing at Ngozi's cousin's house, squeezed into one small room. Adès was furious every day, scrolling Instagram and seeing her father posting pictures of fancy dinners with Nia. Champagne, hotel beds, beach trips. While they were suffering, it burned. But what Adès didn't know was that Nia, she had her own game. She wasn't in love with Kofi. Oh no, she was in love with his money. And with the land gone and the cash starting to dry up, her patience was running out. Meanwhile, Adès was plotting. She couldn't just let her family sink like this. One day, while working at the small grocery store down the street, she met Kwame, a rough-looking guy with sharp eyes and a deep voice. He came in every evening, always buying cheap beer. But he noticed her tears one night and asked, "Who hurt you?" At first, Adès brushed him off, but there was something about Kwame, dangerous but kind. She found herself telling him everything, about her father, Nia, the land, all of it. Kwame smirked. "Your dad's a fool. But don't worry, girls like Nia, they always show their true colors." And man, was he right. One night, while scrolling TikTok, Adès's heart stopped. There was a video, Nia, drunk in a club, grinding on a different guy. The comments were wild. "Isn't that the sugar baby of that old man Kofi?" Adès knew what she had to do. She downloaded the video and with shaking hands sent it straight to Kofi. She waited and waited. Finally, a message popped up from her dad. "Don't believe everything you see." Adès stared at her screen in disbelief. Was he really that blind? But that wasn't the end. Oh no. Things were about to get a whole lot worse for Kofi, and Adès was ready to watch it all burn. Adès couldn't sleep that night. She lay in the dark, staring at the cracked ceiling of Ngozi's cousin's house, her phone clutched in her hand. Kofi's reply kept replaying in her head. "Don't believe everything you see." Was he really this blind? Or maybe just that desperate? Adès's heart hurt, not just because of Nia's betrayal, but because her father was letting this woman destroy their family and his dignity. The next few days were tense. Adais kept stalking Nia's social media like a hawk. And oh boy, Nia wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. More clubbing, more mystery men. Adais wanted to scream. Meanwhile, Kofi, still posting photos of him and Nia like everything was fine. Candlelight dinners, love quotes, all that fake stuff. Ngozi stayed quiet, but Adais could see her pain. Obi, their little brother, just kept asking when they'd go back home. Every time he said it, Adaisi's blood boiled. One evening, after her shift at the grocery store, Adais found Kwame waiting outside. "Yo," he said, leaning against his bike. "You okay? You look pissed." Adais sighed. "Same story. My dad's still acting like Nia's a queen. He won't listen." Kwame grinned, flashing that dangerous smile. "Then we gotta make him listen." Adais frowned. "How?" Kwame leaned closer. "I've been around girls like Nia. She's hungry for money, right? So let's see how she acts when the money dries up." Adais raised an eyebrow. "The money is drying up. He sold the land, but he's not rich. They're burning through it fast." Kwame's smile widened. "Exactly. Which means, soon, Nia's true face will come out." Adais bit her lip. "I just don't want my dad to get completely destroyed, you know?" Kwame shrugged. "Sometimes people have to hit rock bottom before they wake up." Days turned into weeks. Things started to change. First, Kofi stopped posting as much. Then Adais heard whispers from old neighbors that Kofi's new fancy apartment was up for rent again. Rumor had it he couldn't afford it anymore. And then it happened. One stormy night, Adaisi's phone buzzed. It was her dad. "Can I come see you?" Adaisi stared at the message. Her heart raced. She showed it to Ngozi, who just nodded silently. The next afternoon, Kofi showed up at the cousin's place. He looked different. His sharp suits were gone. He wore a wrinkled shirt, eyes sunken, and his proud shoulders were slumped like a defeated man. "Hi," he said softly, stepping inside. Adaisi crossed her arms, standing by the door. "Where's your queen?" Adais asked, her voice cold. Kofi winced. "She left." Adais almost laughed. "Of course she did. When the money ran out?" Kofi sat down heavily, burying his face in his hands. "She took everything. Even my car. I have nothing left." Ngozi just stood there, arms folded, eyes full of quiet rage. Obi peeked from behind her skirt, whispering, "Daddy?" Kofi looked up, tears in his eyes. "I'm sorry," he whispered. I made a huge mistake." Adais wanted to feel pity. She really did. But all she felt was anger. "We told you, Dad. We begged you. But you threw us away for some little girl who never even loved you." Kofi looked broken. "I was stupid. I thought she cared." Adais shook her head. "She cared about the money, that's all." Kofi wiped his face. "Can I stay here? Just for a while? Until I figure things out?" Ngozi stared at him, long and hard. Finally, she said, "You made your bed, Kofi. Now lie in it." Adais felt a weird mix of satisfaction and sadness. Her father, the proud man who once ruled their family like a king, was now begging for shelter. And the worst part, he had done it all to himself. Kofi left that day, walking into the sunset alone. Adaisi watched him go, her heart heavy but her mind racing. She turned to Ngozi. "Mom, what do we do now?" Ngozi sighed deeply. "We rebuild, Adais, without him." But little did they know, Kofi wasn't done messing things up yet. Because Nia, she was about to make a shocking comeback, and this time she had plans. Adais thought it was over, thought her father had learned his lesson after Nia left him broke and homeless. But life always had more twists than she expected. 2 weeks after Kofi walked out of their cousin's house, Adais got a message on Instagram from Nia. Her heart skipped. She opened it fast, her hands shaking. "Hey girl, tell your dad I'm pregnant." Adais's jaw dropped. She stared at the message, her mind racing. Pregnant? No way. She scrolled up, reading it over and over to make sure she wasn't dreaming. She rushed to her mom. "Mom, look at this." She shoved the phone in Ngosi's face. Ngozi read it, eyes narrowing. "Pregnant? Humph. That girl is lying. She just wants more money." Adais bit her lip. "But what if it's true? Ngozi crossed her arms. Even if it is, it's her problem now. We're done with both of them. But Adais had a bad feeling, and she was right. The next day, Kofi showed up again, this time outside Adas's work. He looked like a mess. Dirty clothes, unshaven, eyes wild. "She's pregnant, Adas," he blurted out before she could even say hello. "She's having my baby," Adais groaned, rubbing her forehead. "Dad, you sure it's yours? You saw that video. She's been with other guys." Kofi's face twisted. "I know, but what if it is mine? I can't just abandon my child." Adais sighed. "So what are you gonna do? You're broke. You can't even take care of yourself." Kofi looked desperate. "I need to talk to your mom. I have a plan." Adais didn't like the sound of that, but Kofi was stubborn. That night he came to Ngozi again, begging to be heard. "I want to sell my last plot of land," Kofi said, eyes darting. "It's the only thing I have left. If I sell it, I can support Nia and the baby." Adisi gasped. "The last plot? Dad, that land is the only thing Obi has left for his future?" Ngozi's eyes were blazing. "You're a fool, Kofi, a complete fool. You've already destroyed this family once. You want to do it again?" But Kofi wouldn't listen. "This is my responsibility," he muttered. "I have to do what's right." Eddie stormed out, slamming the door. She was done. She ran to Kwame's place, her eyes full of tears. "I can't take it anymore," she cried. "My dad's gonna ruin everything again." Kwame listened, rubbing her back gently. "Adais, listen to me. We can't stop your dad from being stupid, but we can stop Nia." Adais looked up, confused. "What do you mean?" Kwame's eyes glinted. "Let's catch her red-handed. We need proof she's scamming him." Adais hesitated. "How?" Kwame smirked. "Leave that to me." A few days later, Kwame told Adais to meet him at a club downtown. She followed him through the crowd, her heart pounding. They found a corner booth, and there, in the middle of the dance floor, was Naya, laughing, drinking, and making out with a guy who definitely wasn't Kofi. Kwame took out his phone and started recording. "This is what your dad needs to see." But it got crazier. Nia pulled the guy close and said loud enough for them to hear, "My old man still thinks it's his baby." Dumb fool. Adai's mouth dropped open. She grabbed Kwame's phone. "We got her," she whispered. The next morning, Adaizi sent the video straight to Kofi. No reply. 1 hour later, still nothing. 2 hours, silence. Finally that evening, her phone rang. It was Kofi. His voice was broken, full of pain. "Thank you, Adaiz," he whispered. "You saved me. Again." Adaizi hung up, tears in her eyes. She looked at Ngozi. "Do you think it's over now?" Ngozi sighed deeply. "Maybe, but with your father, you never know." And just as they started to breathe easy, the doorbell rang. Adaiz opened it, and there stood Nia, smiling. "Well, well," Nia said, her eyes flashing. "You think you've won? This is just the beginning." Adaizi's blood ran cold. Adaiz froze at the door, her hand gripping the handle so tight her knuckles turned white. Ngozi stepped up behind her, eyes sharp like knives. Obi peeked from the hallway, his little face full of confusion. Nia stood there, her smile dripping with poison. She looked too calm, like a snake ready to strike. "What do you want?" Ngozi snapped, crossing her arms. Nia tilted her head, her long braids brushing her shoulders. "I came to talk. Your daughter's been busy, sending videos around. Thought we could have a little chat." Adaizi's heart thudded. "We have nothing to say to you." "Oh, I think we do," Nia said, stepping closer. "See, Kofi? He might be mad at me right now, but trust me, he's weak. And men like him, they always come back." Ngozi's face tightened. "Not this time." Nia laughed, tossing her head back. "You wish. But here's the thing. You think you've ruined me? Nah, I'm still pregnant. And soon enough, your family's name? It's gonna be tied to mine forever." Adaizi's stomach twisted. She stared at Nia's flat belly, eyes narrowing. "We don't even believe that baby's his." Nia leaned in close, smirking. "Believe what you want. But when the baby's here, Kofi will come crawling back. And guess what? I'll own everything." Ngozi stepped forward, her voice like steel. "You've done enough damage. Get out of here before I call the police." Nia snorted, backing away. "Fine. But remember what I said, this isn't over. She turned on her heel and strutted off down the street like she owned the world. Adiz slammed the door shut, shaking. She's crazy, Mom. Ngozi nodded, her jaw tight. She's dangerous. That night, the house was tense. Ngozi paced the small living room, wringing her hands. Adizi scrolled her phone obsessively, waiting for any news from Kofi. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. A message from Kwame. Heard something. Meet me now. Adizi's heart raced. She threw on a jacket and rushed out, meeting Kwame at their usual corner by the store. What's wrong? She asked, breathless. Kwame looked serious. I got a friend who works at the hospital. Nia's been coming in for checkups. And guess what? She's not pregnant. Adizi's eyes widened. What? But the ultrasound photos... Kwame shook his head. Fake. My guy said she's been faking it all along, probably using old scans or Photoshop. Adizi felt a surge of rage. She's playing all of us. Kwame nodded. And we need to expose her properly. Publicly. Adizi bit her lip. But how? Kwame grinned. Leave it to me. A few days later, Adiz sat nervously in Kwame's small apartment. He was busy on his laptop, uploading a video to social media. It was a full expose. Photos, videos, proof that Nia was scamming Kofi and lying about the pregnancy. Kwame even added a voiceover, breaking down every dirty detail. This is gonna blow up, Kwame said, hitting post. And oh boy, it did. Within hours, the video went viral. Comments flooded in. She's a fraud. Poor family, that man was fooled hard. Karma's coming for her. Adizi's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Even old friends and neighbors were messaging, shocked by the scandal. But the biggest surprise, Kofi called. Adizi, he said, his voice trembling. I've been so blind. I'm sorry for everything. I want to come back. I want to fix things. Adizi's heart squeezed. Dad, we don't trust you anymore. I understand, Kofi whispered. But please, let me try. Adiz sighed, looking at Ngozi, who just shook her head. You need to prove yourself, Dad. Words aren't enough. Kofi agreed. I will. But just when things seemed to be settling, Adiz got one more message, this time from an unknown number. Tell your little boyfriend Kwame to watch his back. He's messing with the wrong girl. Adizi's blood ran cold. She stared at her phone, heart pounding. Nia's not done, she whispered. And this time, it felt personal. Adiz stared at her phone, her chest tight with fear. That message, tell your little boyfriend Kwame to watch his back, kept flashing in her mind. She knew Nia was bold, but this, threatening Kwame, that was a new level of crazy. She rushed to Kwame's apartment, heart racing. He opened the door, shirtless, a cigarette dangling from his lips. You look like you've seen a ghost, he said, stepping aside to let her in. Adizi showed him the message, her hands shaking. She's threatening you, Kwame. I'm scared. Kwame smirked, taking a drag. Let her try. I'm not scared of that chick. Adiz grabbed his arm. No, you don't get it. She's dangerous. She's desperate now that we exposed her. Who knows what she'll do? Kwame leaned back, exhaling smoke. Adiz, relax. She's all talk. Besides, after that video went viral, everyone knows her game now. She's finished. Adiz wanted to believe him, but deep down, something didn't feel right. The next few days were quiet, too quiet. Nia went silent on social media, Kofi kept his distance, and Adiz tried to focus on work. But every shadow, every unknown call made her jump. Then, it happened. Late one night, Adiz was in bed when her phone rang. Kwame's number. She picked up fast. Hello? But it wasn't Kwame's voice. It was some guy, panicked and breathless. Is this Adiz? Your boy's been hurt. He's at the hospital. Got jumped outside the club. Adiz's world spun. What? She flew out of bed, shouting to her mom, Kwame's in the hospital, and ran out into the night. At the hospital, she found Kwame lying on a bed, his face swollen, blood dried on his temple. His arm was in a sling. Oh my God, Adiz gasped, tears filling her eyes. Kwame, what happened? Kwame gave a weak smile. Told you, she's dangerous. Adiz grabbed his hand, shaking. Who did this? Kwame's eyes darkened. I didn't see them, but before they hit me, one of them said, Nia sends her love. Adiz's stomach twisted in rage. That witch, she really did this. Kwame nodded slowly. But listen, we can't just sit here. We have to end this, Adaze, once and for all. Adaze wiped her tears. But how? Kwame looked her dead in the eyes. We get her arrested. We've got proof she's a scammer. Now we add assault. We press charges. Make sure she can't hurt anyone else. Adaze hesitated. Will my dad be okay with that? Kwame laughed bitterly. He has no choice. This is bigger than him now. The next day, Adaze and Kwame, bandaged up but determined, marched to the police station. They handed over everything. The viral video, the threatening message, Kwame's hospital report. The cops listened closely, taking notes, nodding. We've had complaints about her before, one officer said, shaking his head. This might be enough to bring her in. Adaze felt a small flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, this nightmare was ending. A week later, the news broke. Nia was arrested. Fraud, blackmail, assault. She was facing serious charges. Social media exploded again. Everyone talked about how the gold digger finally got caught. Kofi called Adaze, his voice shaking. I can't believe it. She's really gone. Adaze didn't even try to hide her anger. She's gone because we fought back, Dad. You let her destroy us. We had to clean up your mess. Kofi sighed heavily. I know, and I'm so sorry. For the first time in a long time, Adaze felt relief. But there was still one thing left. She sat with Ngozi and Obi that night, looking around their cramped room. Mom, she said softly, I think it's time we leave the past behind. No more waiting for Dad to fix things. Let's build our own life, just us. Ngozi smiled, tears in her eyes. Yes, Adaze, it's time. But little did they know. Fate had one last twist waiting. For the first time in months, Adaze felt a little peace. Nia was behind bars. Kofi was finally out of their lives, or so she thought. And even though they were still living in Ngozi's cousin's tiny house, things felt lighter. Kwame was healing up, and every evening Adaze would visit him after work, bringing snacks and talking about the future. They started joking about leaving the city one day, starting fresh somewhere no one knew them. But life doesn't like clean endings. One sunny afternoon, Adaze was sweeping outside the house when she saw a familiar figure coming down the street. She squinted, heart sinking. It was Kofi. He looked different this time. Clean shirt, fresh haircut, holding a small bag. He stopped at the gate, eyes full of something Adaze hadn't seen in a long time. Shame. Adaze, he called out softly. Can I talk to you? Adaze wiped her hands on her skirt, crossing her arms. What now, Dad? Kofi sighed deeply. I know I don't deserve it, but I need to tell you something important. Ngozi came out, standing behind Adaze silently. Obi ran to Kofi, hugging his legs before Ngozi gently pulled him back. I've been thinking a lot, Kofi said slowly, and I've made a decision. I'm leaving Accra. Adaze blinked. What? Why? Kofi looked at the ground. I need to start over, far away. I can't keep dragging you all down. But before I go, I wanted to give you something. He opened his bag and pulled out some papers. I signed over the last plot of land to you and Obi, he said, handing them to Ngozi. It's all yours now, forever. Adaze's eyes widened. Ngozi froze, staring at the papers in disbelief. This is real? Ngozi whispered. Kofi nodded, tears welling up. It's the least I can do. I ruined so much, but I want you to have a future. Adaze didn't know what to say. Part of her wanted to scream at him, remind him of all the pain he caused. But another part saw how broken he looked now. Thank you, she said finally, her voice tight. I hope you find peace, Dad, but don't come back unless you've really changed. Kofi wiped his face, nodded and walked away, this time for good. Later that night, Adaze sat with Kwame on his porch, staring up at the stars. So, Kwame said, smiling, you finally own that land. Adaze nodded slowly. Yeah, but you know what? It's not about the land. It's about freedom. We can build our own life now. Kwame leaned in, kissing her softly. You already started, Adaze. You're stronger than you think, she smiled, resting her head on his shoulder. And for the first time in forever, she believed it. No more gold diggers, no more broken promises, just Adaz, her family, and a future she was finally in control of.